Tonight's match is presented by Blue Federal Credit Union. Welcome to Winder Field. Colorado Springs playing host to the Charleston Battery here this evening in a matchup featuring the two highest goal-scoring teams in the league. Alongside former coach Eric Dobransky, Michael Watring with you here this evening. Here's how the Western Conference looks. It's tight. That's the easiest way to put it. 4 through 11 separated by 3 points. But if Colorado Springs wins tonight, they could get within 3 points of the top spot in Orange County this evening. Colorado Springs has been in good form for a while. They've won back-to-back home matches. Eric, what are you seeing out of the Switchbacks?
Well, they're healthier, and that availability has provided highly impactful depth, which in turn has established balance in both boxes. In this span, they have 9 goals scored, 2 clean sheets. This is a group beginning to fire on all cylinders.
Speaking of firing on all cylinders, Corey Bennett is a big reason why they're firing on all cylinders. The co-Golden Boot leader has goals in 10 of 22 matches this year.
And he brings that combative edge. This match will demand Charleston defend their box extremely well, so space will have to be earned. Bennett has that physicality to battle for those fine margins.
Conversely, in the Eastern Conference, this is how things look right now in the standings. Tampa Bay pulling away. Charleston 8 points off the pace. But the top 3 all with great goal differentials right now. And the Battery are trying to keep pace with the top of the group. And they do so because they're so efficient from an attacking perspective. Number 1 in goals, number 1 in shots on target.
Yeah, the numbers reflect just how complete this attack has become. They threaten with real variety, flooding the box, creating multiple options. And then if you collapse too deep, they have the ability to punish from distance. And that range makes them a threat that's extremely difficult to contain for 90 minutes.
They are playing without their leading goal scorer. Colton Swan is at the CONCACAF U20 Championships. So what happens tonight? The Battery only have 7 points on the road this year. Can they turn that tide, or do the Switchbacks make it 3 straight home wins? We'll find out. Starting 11s and the kick is next.
Tell me, are you ready?
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm. When it comes to accuracy, the News 5 weather team has it.
Hey, check this out.
He's out!
Now that's accuracy.
News 5 meteorologist Alan Rose. When you want the most reliable morning forecast, his accuracy makes all the difference.
Thrills and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure. At Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
Tell me, are you ready?
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm.
The USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. Tonight's player walkout is sponsored by Children's Hospital Colorado. It is Colorado Springs and Charleston colliding for the 5th time all-time. Michael Watring and Eric Dobransky with you as we take a look at our starting lineups. Presented by Phil Long. We mentioned our Keg 1 Modelo player to watch in Corey Bennett, but otherwise, for this Switchbacks group, 5 changes for the 2-0 win against Miami on Wednesday.
And this is a trio in midfield for Alan McCann's group. Sam Williams, Juan Tejada, Speedy Williams, who will be instrumental in how this match plays out in possession, playing out of pressure, and then defensively denying spaces for Charleston to be aggressive playing forward.
Conversely for Charleston, 4 changes from last week's 1-1 draw against Sacramento.
Well, with no Colton Swan on international duty, Alec Hughes steps in for his first start of the season, possesses that willingness to get in the box and battle. Then Graham Smith, back from serving that red card suspension, he, along with Sean Suber and Apononu, will provide that stabilizing force the Charleston Battery side will look for.
So it's a road match for the Battery, and yes, they're the highest goal-scoring team in the league this season, but on the road, they've been outscored 15-9. While Colorado Springs, on the other side, they try to use this facility as an advantage. They have the best goal differential in the West and the most goals in the West when they play at home. So great to have you with us here this evening. This is a premier matchup in the USL Championship. 2 teams that aren't just vying for the top spots in the league. They're thinking about winning the whole thing in 2026. White kits with black shorts for Charleston, all blacks for this Colorado Springs group. And we're ready to go here this evening. Mohamed Kalia is our center referee. 4th match with the whistle. He blows it. Colorado Springs puts it in play, and we are underway this evening on a Saturday night in Colorado Springs. The Switchbacks play host to Charleston's Battery. Well, you take a look at this matchup. These are 2 teams that got off to pretty sluggish starts to begin the season, but they have been firing on all cylinders ever since that point. Of course, Colorado Springs with their Prinks Tires USL Cup run, while Charleston on the other side, they've outscored teams 31-13 since April. How do you envision the next 90 minutes playing out?
I think defending their boxes are going to be so important for both these teams. How you defend them when the ball is wide. How do you defend some of the runs and the layers that both these teams present? Because we highlighted the Charleston Battery's offense, the 31 goals scored. Colorado Springs Switchbacks aren't far behind with their 26 goals scored. So these are 2 teams that play with tremendous belief going forward. But now it's about being very tidy and detailed in the defensive half.
That ball rolls out. It'll be an early goal kick here, giving us a chance to take a look at tonight's injury report presented by Common Spirits Health. Well, Aiden Rocha and Patrick Berner are both out. Those are 2 key pieces for the Switchbacks. No injuries, but we mentioned Colton Swan is with the United States' U20 group in Mexico for the U20 championships of CONCACAF. He leads the team with 7 goals this year. How does that influence this Battery group?
I think the way that they've played this season, the collective dynamic they've had going forward suits them very well. Obviously, Colton Swan is a big miss when you have a presence like that teams have to prepare for, not only just denying service into him, but just keeping him occupied and making sure that he doesn't hurt you through a 90-minute match. But the multitude of ways that this Charleston Battery team can go about unlocking areas, creating threats going forward, that's where missing players for a significant time kind of really plays into the favor of why they're so versatile and the way that they can break down teams. So I still expect this Ben Pierman group to be very fluid and very adaptable through this matchup away from home.
Lineup's not in yet for the U.S. They'll take on Haiti. Kickoff is about an hour away in Puebla City, Mexico. Keep our eyes on that. But no Colton Swan tonight, and that was one of the things that Alan Marcina really talked about, or Alan McCann rather, really talked about this Charleston group. He mentioned the fact that there isn't necessarily one player that you can really focus on. It's a collective team, and anybody can rise at one time. They do such a good job in their build, and he said that was their focus for tonight's matchup.
Yeah, collective attacking group, and going back to Alec Hughes playing, really what changes is what kind of delivery and entry that he's looking for compared to what Colton Swan has now become used to. We saw him come on towards the end of that Sacramento Republic 1-1 draw, kind of put his nose into a lot of dangerous areas, was an aerial threat.
This long distance shot ends up nearly to the top row of Winder Field. Adrian Perez lets one rip. Ben Pierman said since that little break that they had, as you take another look at the shot from Perez. Pierman saying since that break at the end of June, frustrated with that Indy 11 matchup. They made the play. Charleston did not. Charlotte, he said, it was kind of a wild game. We needed to win that game. We had to have the performance in that game to make it out of the group. It was a win-or-go-home situation against the Independents. Charlotte won the game in penalties despite a 4 expected goals number from Charleston. And then he said against Sacramento, he thought that they would have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder coming out after that Charlotte match, and just didn't feel like it happened for the full 90 minutes against Sac Republic. Curious to see how they perform tonight. That pass a tad late to arrive. Hughes's weight can't quite get there, and now here comes Speedy Williams and company.
It's one of those challenges as a head coach and a coaching staff that you look at a match going to that Sacramento Republic side, the game, go down 1-0 to start out the second half. And those are two teams that are explosive going into second half scoring, but you find the resilience to pull one back, and then you go up a player with the Forrester Ajago red card, but just unable to find that breakthrough. So really a storyline that, you know, when you break it down, you're pleased with the response, but overall feel like there's 2 points dropped in that match.
5 minutes in, still searching for a shot from inside of the 18 from these two groups. Sam Williams was one of the 5 changes for the Switchbacks after their 2-0 victory against Miami Wednesday nights, putting them in a tie for 4th entering the weekend on the table. Charleston sits in a tie for 2nd in the Eastern Conference. Not a lot of real estate over there, but Williams trying to make the most out of it. Won't have the chance to unfurl one. He's looking right into the sun. Tough job for the assistant referee tonight, having to look right into that. You allowed to wear sunglasses as an official?
I'm wondering what that conversation's about.
Now Williams tosses it inside of the 18. Hughes hits it first. Back out for Williams, who leads the team with 3 assists this year. Now Williams, again, inside of the 18. It ends up falling at the feet, inside of the box, but ends up trickling out wide. That looked like it was Garvin Metusala. We welcome you in here to our USL on CBS match presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. We're in Colorado Springs for this USL Championship matchup between the 2 highest goal-scoring teams in the league this season. Charleston out of the Eastern Conference tied for 2nd. Colorado Springs is tied for 4th in the West with the 2nd most goals. Michael Watrang, coaching veteran Eric Dobransky, and our entire crew excited to watch this one with you here this evening. Should be a high-flying matchup at altitude here in Colorado Springs. Here's Douglas Martinez on the overlap. Lauren Kisiedu, Ikaza. Kisiedu now charges. Ikaza rolls it up top. There's Sean Subert. Plenty of space. Ikaza now backpedals, looks over his shoulder, lines up the wide side once more. Here's Blackstock, the former Riverhound. Ikaza curls it in, empty header. Plenty of real estate there on the run from Jeremy Kelly, and he skies it over the top of the crossbar.
And then you just saw there Alec Hughes sitting along that far post, opening up that channel. Great recognition from Jeremy Kelly on the run, and what a wonderful delivery by Ikaza. Kelly just unable to guide this on target. And we saw it in that sequence. You see Sean Suber playing in that midfield position. We've seen that early on in the season and hints of it throughout the year. Everybody's kind of accustomed to seeing him at that center back position, but sitting right in front of that back line. And he is a playmaking defensive player. I mean, he will sit there, he will pick you apart if you give him the time and space. He's got tremendous range.
Montejana called for the foul. Came in with that challenge. The fans frustrated because they thought it was a foul on Charleston on the sideline.
a season Emilio Icaza is having. Player of the month for the month of June. Had the equalizer against Sacramento Republic.
Ben Pierman said that he's a player that you cannot take out of the group because of his ability to shift lines, counter press, and just cannot speak highly enough of his personality on the field. Offside flag on Blackstock. This is the dynamic that we'll be watching all night long, is shots on target. Charleston leads the league in the category, 87 for the year. 10 times out of 16 matches, they've had at least 5. Colorado Springs, conversely, they've given up the second fewest of any team in the league this year. 8 consecutive matches, giving up 3 or less.
And that's why just stylistically, this matchup just pops out to you. I mean, obviously East-West, and 2 ambitious teams from each conference. And then the way that they want to play, disrupt, be combative, but also fluid offensively.
Speaking of that fluidity, another long run here. Williams hooks it in. It hits Bennett's head. Tejada is screaming in front as well. And it ends up trickling harmlessly out near the corner flag. Out for a goal kick. 10 minutes in, we're scoreless. Both teams have had headers inside of the 6-yard box.
Well, and you see that conversation right there between Bennett and Tejada. And obviously just a bit of miscommunication and things that they want to clarify, but you have to like the numbers and the options that you have in the box. You have 4 players in and around the 6-yard box. Now you're just asking about variety when it comes to approach.
For as good of goal-scoring teams as we have here tonight, Charleston in all competitions has not scored before the 12th minute of any match this year. Colorado Springs, meanwhile, they lead the league in second half goals, but they've only scored 8 times in the first half this season. So maybe we watch another similar tale where it is scoreless for a good chunk of time, and then the second half turns out to be a wild one.
And that's such a great point, because I think there's 2 parts to that. The disruptive part, because these are 2 teams that like to apply pressure and win the ball higher up the field, and will tell you that when they can live in the opponent's half, that the result and the performance tends to lean their way. But it does take a bit to add value to that disruption. So you can have the disruption, picking up the ball closer to the goal, but now what are you doing with that regain? What are you doing with that first ball? What are you doing in those moments? And we've seen both teams test and pry right now in some moments, but you're still not ending up with that clear opportunity. Jeremy Kelly with the best one from that delivery from Icaza, but still it's going to take a multitude of options.
Hughes bends it across. Metusala mashes it out.
But we have also seen both these teams, when their press is on and they are collective and they are absolutely ruthless in those sequences. I mean, they are high flying and off and running. And I think Charleston Battery went back-to-back games with 5 goals. They had 10 goals in 2 games. I mean, that is how explosive they can be. And that 5-1 win, FC Tulsa, 5-2 against Sporting Jacks, and then 4-1 against Loudoun United.
Here's Hughes trying to hold it up, but loses it. Speedy Williams pushes it forward. Isaiah Foster, one of those 5 changes to the starting 11. Excellent ball here. A collision. Smith, who served the red card suspension last week, gets a yellow card here in the 13th minute.
This is going to be frustrating from Charleston Battery, and obviously clumsy on the play there from Graham Smith. Early yellow.
Yellow card has been issued to Graham Smith of Charleston Battery. This caution is sponsored by Diversis Health. Mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. And now it's this free kick scoring opportunity brought to you by Underline, delivering gigabit fiber internet. Underline.com/COS has more info.
And you understand it from Graham Smith right there. You just sat out a game. You want to go and make a play, and especially coming off a sequence where Colorado Springs Switchbacks almost turn it over in the build. That's going to be another element to watch for both these teams, is minimizing the threat that you present upon yourself in some of the builds, some of the turnovers, being very sharp with, if you do get dispossessed, where and when you get dispossessed and in what shape you're in when you do.
Williams gets an angle, touches it out wide. Lacroix unable to get there in time. His first start since rejoining the group after playing for Haiti in the World Cup. The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Scalazzo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Ben Pierman was talking about this group and specifically about this time of the year. You take a look at how the schedule typically plays out. It's the dog days of summer. It's that tough stretch of time, July and August. He said results are harder to come by. The question is, can we position ourselves to find ourselves ready for the playoffs at that point in time? And are they pushing for a shield, which they have been the last couple of years with Louisville? This year it's a little bit different. Or are they pressing to try to host a game in the opening round of the playoffs? Maples is going to track this one down and ensure it trickles out with Nathan Messer giving it a look.
And I know when you talk to coaches, and when we talk to these two coaches specifically, it's far too early to look at the standings week to week, because if you do that, you're going to go crazy. And Alan McCann said just that. But to the point you were just making, and it's terrific, is that the next week or two is really going to determine what positioning you're looking for. Are you chasing the shield? Are you in a prime position to be a top 4 team and host? Keep climbing in that standings and where you finish. So that's where the next couple weeks is extremely impactful, where you get into that final 10-game stretch and what those points begin to mean.
I think the fans' perspective sometimes amplifies those end-of-season points, because you can see a little bit of the standings take focus. Long throw into the 18. It skims off of the head of Kelly, who had a header inside of the box earlier. Now it's a good run here. Hanya pulls away, but Blackstock shuts him down. But I think the coach's perspective, and we've heard this before, the more points you can gain earlier in the season, the less you have to worry about at the end of the year.
Yeah, a stress-free life benefits everybody late in the season. Those fine margins, you almost start your playoffs like a couple weeks before if you're in that battle where you're not necessarily trying to climb into the playoff picture, because these two teams, now, we'll say the Western Conference is just absolutely fluid and dynamic in terms of where the points are. I mean, when you have the bottom of the table only 12 to 13 points off, I think right now as it stands it's 13 from the top, from that #1 position in the West. I mean, that is as razor thin.
Perez crosses, and that was a dangerous looking header if you're looking at it from our angle. It does go out wide on the sprawling play there by Graham Smith.
Here's the isolation, good ball in. Get isolated 1v1 after this ball. Clipped in right there, and then you leave yourself enough space along the byline that you can then drive at it and create some separation.
It's a McDivitt Law Firm corner kick. McDivitt is in your corner. Adrian Perez pounds it to the front post. Martinez sends it away.
And this was the side and corner that opened the scoring against Miami FC on Wednesday. It was pretty much a broken play, a short corner that kind of went awry, but ended up working out. Good throw here from Sam Williams.
Williams thought about taking a whack. Instead, he does end up walloping a ball into the seats. Had one thought in mind as soon as that ball reached his feet. Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle. Ikaza darts away from one man, tries to make it past the second. Unable to do so is great defensive work there by Lacroix. And this ball's given away though. Tejada, too much mustard on that. I think he was looking at Corey Bennett, who's the golden boot leader right now. 11 goals for the year. Tejada, ambitious strike there for Bennett. Ikaza once more. Settles with Williams on his backside. Smith sends it down the field. Hughes over his head. As good as Charleston is at the attack, in 6 of their 8 road games, they've had less than 5 shots on target, and just hasn't quite been the same attacking group on the road pitch as it has been on the home pitch. Lacroix, that's a cheeky little pass. Williams finds space. Williams ultimately canceled out by Smith. It rolls to the corner and goes out.
Clever here in the build. Patient. And right there, but then met with terrific defensive presence. Never goes down to ground until the last moment, knowing that he has to get the block. Sometimes you see defenders leave their feet extremely early, and then you delay it long enough that a support defender can get over.
This corner kick is brought to you by Pikes Peak State College. Find your future at Pikes Peak State. Second corner of the match. Williams hooks it to the back post. Headed back to the mixer. It misses 2 men. Bennett was 1. Charleston under duress here. 20 minutes in. Scoreless matchup between the 2 best goal-scoring teams in the league. A foul whistled. Free kick once more for Colorado Springs.
Well, you have the earlier opportunity from Jeremy Kelly from Charleston, and then now you have this from the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, where the space and the margins are so limited. Can you get yourself in fighting position to just get a touch there?
Another free kick scoring opportunity brought to you by Underline, delivering gigabit fiber internet. Underline.com/COS. Adrian Perez, LAFC, Orange County, San Diego, and Lou City. Swings this ball in, and once again from that side, they're unable to get past the first man. Colin Shuttler is out to get it, and let's see. The whistle blows. I guess it's a foul on Charleston. He hasn't officially pointed. That was Kisiedu. That was chasing after it. Williams crosses to Lacroix. Doesn't hit that ball well. Blackstock steals. Blackstock lifts it to the sideline. Kelly touches it down. Maples chases after him, and all Kelly can do is send it out for a throw. Duke Lacroix, well-traveled in his USL career, and even though he only played 30 minutes in the World Cup, that no doubt a highlight of his pro career, representing Haiti to get the team back into the World Cup for the first time in a half century. Tejada.
You have to appreciate the interchange right now that you're seeing from both teams. You're seeing Suber and Ikaza switch quite a bit, and then this midfield is Sam Williams, Speedy Williams, Tejada.
Blackstock won it. He was trying to feed Ikaza and eludes him. That ball goes out of play. This is the 5th time that these two teams have played. In the first 4, there have been 16 different goal scorers. None of those 16 have scored more than 1 goal. So far in this matchup, 5 shots to 1 in favor of the Switchbacks. Neither team with a shot on target. Jeremy Kelly had the best chance in the 8th minute. Had a good header from about 8 yards away with plenty of time to think about it and ended up hitting it over the top of the crossbar. Williams, Bennett gets it back. Bennett bashes. Swallowed up, however. Luis Zamudio slides to his left.
And that's the give and take that this match is going to present, because there's much of that spell of possession right there for the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, and it equates to that chance. For the Charleston Battery, you're going to live with that. You're going to live with an opportunity that's taken from 18 to 20 yards out, and you're not getting broken into the 18-yard box, not having to defend facing your own goal.
Tejada, the target of this throw. He was trying to slip in behind. Now Bennett slows, twirls, Bennett blasts! Oh, it doesn't miss by much. Just missed, not just the goal, but Zamudio's hand.
Now, those are going to be the loud moments you want to minimize, because when you have that kind of space and time, and you have a goal scorer like Corey Bennett, you're not making those shooting windows any tighter. You're not squeezing the space to make it a threatening amount of pressure. He almost curls that around in the upper corner.
Alan McCann called Corey Bennett a 24-hour athlete. He says he brings home some of the supplies of the physio. Brings it back the next day, of course, but does bring it home. Concerned about his body. He mentioned that he coached him in USL League Two, and when Bennett arrived his freshman year of college, he said this is a tall, skinny kid. By year number 2 in League Two, he had filled out that body, and ever since that point, nutrition has been a high part of his game. That's something that we don't get to see on the field, but insight into why he has scored double-digit goals, not just this year with 11, but in years prior. Nathan Messer goes down here. Messer, 24 years of age, played collegiately at Providence. First time he's outside of the Northeast after a year in Rhode Island and a year with Portland Hearts of Pine. It's Christmas in July, in case you're wondering, with the Santa hats.
Here's the pressure from Nathan Messer, and then coming together, and we see why he's down. Somebody that leads this Charleston Battery team with chances created. I mean, what a presence up and down sideline. I mean, talked about it earlier, Emilio Icaza's box-to-box influence. I mean, Nathan Messer has come in, and for a Charleston Battery side from this year to last year and previous years under Ben Pierman, they not only value the wide spaces, but they have such quality in that delivery and that play and recognition. Nathan Messer, somebody that was picked up in preseason, has just stepped right in and provided that, steps into set pieces as well.
Leads the team with 4 assists for the year. And that's been his biggest area of emphasis in 2026, his skill in the build-up phase. You can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish language network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings.
Briefly going back to Corey Bennett, obviously still the leading goal scorer for Reading United, that USL League Two team that Alan McCann coached. And then you hear throughout an Alan McCann, his journey through the coaching ranks, obviously college, heavy college influence. And you get it from players when they develop through the college ranks, because the college season is so short and so compact that when you come into a pro season and you get into the dog days of summer, you get into those moments where it is taxing and it's challenging to break through. I mean, that's where it's so important, the kind of professional you become on and off the field.
It's completely different, right? I mean, you only have to worry about August through December. Best case scenario if you're playing into December, versus here you're thinking about January, February, all the way through November. You're spending almost 11 months out of the year playing. How about Zamudio coming all the way out? He lifts that into the air to send it away and nullify the chance. A third of the way through this match, it's been all Colorado Springs for the most part. Corey Bennett came close twice in less than 60 seconds from breaking through after Jeremy Kelly missed a header in the 8th minute. Shots are 7-1 in favor of Colorado Springs. We're scoreless in our matchup here tonight. Michael Watrang, Eric Dobransky, and our team with you here on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. Enjoying our evening. Hope you are too. Will there be a goal in the final quarter hour of the first half? Tejada is the target. Charleston have really not seen much of the ball. Again, playing without their leading goal scorer. Colton Swan is with the United States' U20 team. Tonight playing against Haiti in the U20 CONCACAF Championships.
Well, we touched on it earlier, the collective. You don't have 31 goals on the season by just one player. You do it collectively. You do it with the flexibility, the adaptability, the fluidity going forward. But right now, you're just not seeing necessarily the connection between Alec Hughes and that midfield line, the ability to switch. You do see it for Colorado Springs Switchbacks, and that's probably why you're seeing some of that success. Corey Bennett's able to drop in when Juan Tejada wants to climb and find that central space up higher, whereas an Alec Hughes is still building himself into the game, finding moments where he can hold up play, get teammates involved.
The man that might have the biggest influence for Charleston in the attack is on the bench tonight. Malik Foster, the former Switchback, has 8 goal contributions in his last 12. And we do expect to see him come off the bench in the second half, if not earlier.
Well, these are two teams that present unique challenges to opponents from players off the bench. I mean, obviously, per 11, you can come out with a different lineup and still execute at extremely high level. But you mentioned Malik Foster, Miguel Berry's on the bench. Pahamov has been a consistent midfield starter for Charleston Battery. Wilmer Cabrera, and then you look at the Switchbacks. I mean, Fjellberg started last match. Frank DeRoma is available. Mazareka had an assist on Wednesday.
Maples sends it back for Shuttler, who's been pretty lonely on that end of the field for much of the night. Foster tries to pull away from the pressure of Blackstock, does so. Ikaza tries to force him awry, and a whistle comes for a foul, and Ikaza voices his disdain.
Well, we talked to Alan McCann this week about Colin Shuttler's performance, and we did talk about how locked in goalkeepers have to stay when it is typically a quiet night. I mean, obviously tonight we're just getting started, but on Wednesday, Miami FC had to make a massive save when it was at 0-0 in that second half, and really didn't have to face too much before that. But the life of a goalkeeper, and that's something where being switched on and detailed right now is going to be so important, especially with a team that wants to build through the thirds.
Foster strolls through the middle. Now to Salah. Much of the first half has been played on this end of the field. Hanya attacks, dodges Martinez. Forces field, now sets it up. Hanya hooks, it bounces over the head of Bennett, rolls back out. Williams has already uncorked a shot from that region. Perez slams the brakes on, again, showcases the skill. Apaonu sends it as far as Williams. Again, Perez tries Apaonu, and this time he sends it up to the mezzanine level. Switchbacks eyeing a first half goal. The Battery, meanwhile, looking for answers with possession. Final 10 minutes of the first half of a scoreless affair thus far. Hanya.
See Hanya drop in, and that's probably a player for Colorado Springs Switchbacks that they would love to see get on the ball, closer to goal, faced up. He's able to attack defenders and generate that attention. Can open up so much for Bennett, Speedy Williams. Juan Tejada's tremendous at those late arrivals.
Foster bends it in. Bennett tries to push it over towards Tejada. See what Blackstock can do. He draws the foul. That was his best hope there with Hanya on his backside. And no outlets forward. Well, this is a stretch of 3 of 4 on the road for Charleston. They'll go back home for Brooklyn next week, and then they go to Loudoun and Pittsburgh after that. Meanwhile, for the Switchbacks, after tonight, they'll play 4 of their next 6 away from home, starting with New Mexico next week. Well, I mentioned it earlier, the second half is typically when things get interesting between these two teams, and the storyline has followed the preview of this contest. Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle.
And for Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they also have an August 12th matchup in the Prinks Tires USL Cup at Spokane Velocity. So you add that trip to the schedule.
Hanya against Martinez. Has it been a match in your eyes that has been more Colorado Springs flexing its muscle, or Charleston just allowing this game to flow in their defensive half right now?
I think a little bit of both, because just in that sequence right there, both teams have done a tremendous job of slowing the first ball down when getting dispossessed. But right now, the Charleston Battery are conceding that space. When the Switchbacks get on the ball, they're dropping into their end, making sure that they're structured and they're compact, and so making it difficult. So they'll live with some of these spells of possession. And also, I think the variety.
Glances off the first man. Tejada comes running in late, and all he can do is get his right foot on it. Too much mustard.
And right there, prime example of the variety that you're getting in and around the 18-yard box. The occupation of Corey Bennett near post, Juan Tejada with the late run, that far post. You still have Perez wide.
A full night of action in the USL Championship. We'll take a glance around the league at halftime. See how things are shaping out. Some finals earlier today in the books. A lot of one-goal games from the earlier matches in the Eastern Conference. This is one of 3 games currently going on. Lexington, Tulsa are scoreless, and El Paso and Sporting Jacks. It's 1-0 El Paso. When these two teams last met in October in South Carolina, it was 5-0 Charleston. They scored 3 times in the first 25 minutes in the blowout victory. Tejada touches, and Apinonu over to help it out. The last time that they played here was in 2024. That was a 2-0 victory for the Switchbacks. And prior to that, in July of 2022, that was a wild one. 3-3 in that game. Charleston led twice. Switchbacks led 3-2 until A.J. Patterson tied it in the 2nd minute of second half stoppage time. Tonight, so far, without a goal between the 2 best goal-scoring teams in the league. Williams launches another long throw in. This time, Maples gets the first piece, a bobble and a foul. Zamudio gets bailed out there by the whistle of Maples, getting into the backside of a defender.
This is that chaos that long throw from Sam Williams can present. Get heavy numbers in the 18-yard box. Zamudio doing a great job of going up and locating it, just getting undercut there at the end and earning the foul.
Zamudio tries to kickstart an attack with a direct pass over the top. Kisiedu takes the throw for Martinez. Charleston looked to steal a goal before halftime, despite holding just 1 shot in the game, coming all the way back in the 8th minute.
And I really like the way he just put it, because that's exactly what Charleston Battery are looking to do, is kickstart something offensively going forward. They're not able to get Alec Hughes. Kisiedu, same thing. Just not. Jeremy Kelly, besides the header earlier in the first half, have not seen heavy involvement from him. Nathan Messer in the attacking third. But I also do think a part of that is their inability to cause some of the defensive havoc and chaos that they present to teams. And that's where the Switchbacks are doing a good job of being tidy in that first pass and in possession, unlocking the space, getting themselves big, and chances like this.
This attempt rolls in. Tejada bobbles the first. Throttles the second off of a defender.
The problem that's going to become at the forefront for the Switchbacks is how do you unlock that last moment right there, where if the Charleston Battery have that many bodies in and around the 6-yard box, you have to move one final piece to get that opening and find that breakthrough.
Ben Pierman asked the question. He said, when we're in possession, can we play the game in our attacking half? Well, the answer simply, with 43 minutes in the books, is no. Has not happened at all. It's been Colorado Springs that has done that. Foster tries to cross it in. Kisiedu back to it. Can't hold on to it. Perez, a nudge forward. It's Bennett. Bennett touches it back. Lacroix cannot quite slow. Foster back on it. Foster lines it up. Fires a shot that misses everybody, including the camera op, as it goes out for a goal kick.
And these are the pictures that are going to continue to present themselves for the Switchbacks as this half comes to a close. Is right here. Duke Lacroix gets on the ball. Can he find Perez right there in that final moment? Can he do it a bit quicker? That's going to be the continued challenge. But again, to the point you just made, for Ben Pierman and his group, you're on the road, you're at altitude, you know that they're coming off a midweek game, the Switchbacks are, they're going to be flying. and then make sure you're defensively sturdy first.
Alan McCann wanted to know if they could take advantage of what can be a weakness and a strength for Charleston, being dominant with possession and getting their fullbacks up the field. Well, it hasn't been the case where the fullbacks have been able to get anywhere near the attacking half so far in this game. That's a giveaway. Bennett with plenty of space. Sends it out wide. Perez cuts back. Runs into Akaza, however, and commits the foul.
And you see Akaza having a word with the center official because he did feel like they were on a break, albeit starting deep in their defensive third, but still an opportunity where you do have Sam Williams climbing the field. You already had Perez on the ball.
Stoppage time presented by the TikTok Shop. 2 more minutes to go in this first half. That's a foul, at least in the eyes of Charleston, but there is no whistle. And then it's given right back. 90 seconds to go here in the first half. Exactly how we thought this would go. The 2 highest goal-scoring teams of the league this year, scoreless after 45 for now.
Yeah, exactly what when you look at the stats, you thought that you were going to see. But to be fair, as this game is played on, I mean, it really has played to a bit of the script. No loud moments for either side. We mentioned the Jeremy Kelly opportunity early in the first half. The Switchbacks have kind of put some danger and threat in around the 6, but still have not put anything on Zamudio to make a big save. But for the Charleston Battery and Ben Pierman, I do believe he's pleased with how his team has performed here in 45 minutes if they can stay 0-0 going into the half, because now you feel like structurally, defensively, you're in a good place. Now how do you open this game up, get your outside backs more involved? Martinez, Messer, how do you find that connection going forward? Is Miguel Berry somebody that's available? I mean, he's available tonight. Is he somebody that can come on? Same thing with Wilmer Cabrera.
We've seen altitude play an influence on opponents here in Colorado Springs. Oftentimes, it helps the Switchbacks. How will the second half play out? The Battery, with their road struggles, showcasing that tonight. Hanya tries to change something here before halftime. Perez waits, chips, Hanya the target. Apinonu out. Kelly picks, and that's your first half whistle. No score between the 2 best goal-scoring teams in the USL Championship this year, and that's where we stand through 45.
Yeah, for Alan McCann and the Switchbacks, it's finding the next level. Don't be content with the opportunities that you've generated here in the first half. Find that next action, elevate what you're doing in the final third, and then for Charleston Battery, sustain the threat. Find some ability to play forward, and then keep that ball in the attacking half.
No score at the break between Charleston and Colorado Springs. It's Christmas in July, and the Grinsmers trying to chase down Santa Claus earlier in the match, but our halftime score sees it 0-0 through 45. Back with our halftime report when we return.
Tell me, are you ready?
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm. When it comes to accuracy, the News 5 weather team has it.
Hey, watch this. He's out! Now that's accuracy.
News 5 meteorologist Alex O'Brien. When you want the most reliable forecasts, her accuracy makes all the difference.
thrills, and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure. At Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
At KOAA News 5, the stories of our neighbors create connections, and those connections build our community. Around here, imaginations soar. Moments are captured. Strangers connect. Problems are solved. Lives are changed. Your voice is heard. Because together, we tell the story of us.
Tonight's halftime is sponsored by Blue Federal Credit Union. Scoreless between the Switchbacks and the Battery here this evening. Tonight's honorary healthcare professional of the match is Lauren Carney, nurse manager, emergency department at St. Francis Interquest. Thank you, Lauren, for all you've done to help our community. The USL is trending in the right direction. What does the future look like? Let's find out.
They are more than shiny and new. The latest collection of brand new stadiums in USL are a commitment to communities. Fans in Boise have set attendance records. Finishing touches greet the fans in Fort Wayne weekly. In Greenville, Triumph fans are in love with their permanent new home. These projects take time and patience, but nothing gets a community excited like seeing a shovel in the ground. Detroit City of the USL Championship has gone from dreams to renderings to construction. At its recent groundbreaking in Southwest Detroit, Alumni Phi Stadium became a vision for the very near future.
We've been incredibly fortunate to create something that's way bigger than us, and that we have the great fortune of being stewards of it. And the stadium represents really an investment in that community, an investment in this neighborhood, a tremendous investment in the city, and something that will be around for generations to come.
With this stadium, the club is investing in its future and demonstrating a long-term commitment to building a sustainable, community-driven club. I'm excited for what the future holds for Detroit City. I can't wait to be back here for the opening match in 2028. And I want to say congratulations to the fans, supporters, ownership group, and the entire community that made this amazing new home possible.
At 15,000 seats, Alumni Phi raises the bar for Detroit City. Soon there will be more groundbreakings and sounds of stadium construction as USL gets closer to the launch of Premier.
Colorado Springs and Charleston goalless through 45 minutes of play. We'll step out for a break, update things from around the league when we come back.
Sometimes the waves are calling your name. Other times you think the waves are calling your name, but actually it's the kids.
This summer, get 1,000 bonus points and a chance to win 250,000 bonus points.
Inside, it's smashed home. It gives Richmond the lead.
Out of Plotter headed down, and Barreda. Cosmos equalize.
Espectacular. Hay mucha fiesta, señor Martino. Hay gente revancha, doctor, pero falta gol. Estamos esperando a un gol.
¿Hugo Sánchez? Sí, tira para adelante.
¿Quién maneja? ¿Un futbolista? ¡Llegamos por fin! ¡Ay, bendito sea el chapar, doctor! Hugo, ¿regreso a las canchas? ¿Algún consejo?
Sí, confía y cree en ti.
¡Ey! ¡Pasa al norte!
A donde me dé la oportunidad, pero listo para dar el paso.
¡Listo, vamos!
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kind of everything.
This summer, get 1,000 bonus points and a chance to win 250,000 bonus points.
Pain to...
Now and then, you need to stop and smell the roses. Or the leaves, rocks, trees, sticks, and that one tree again.
This summer, get 1,000 bonus points and a chance to win 250,000 bonus points.
Thrills and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure. At Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
It's been a low-scoring night in the USL Championship in Week 21, and it's not just here. Colorado Springs and Charleston are scoreless. It's been everywhere else in the league, with the exception of Miami. Tampa Bay jumped out to a 2-0 advantage in the first 12 minutes. Miami tied it in the final quarter hour before Marco Micheletto won it in the 80th minute, 3-2 there. J.J. Williams had the lone goal for Rhode Island in a win against Pittsburgh. Loudon gets a goal from Abdelatif Abukura in the 60th minute. Las Vegas scores 40 seconds into the game. Olex Anderson, and that holds up in Detroit. And Christian Pirano scores in the 34th minute. That game is 1-0. Some of the late matches, there's a goal from Amando Moreno against Sporting Jacks. It's 1-0 at halftime. Scoreless between Tulsa and Lexington. And the late games, if you're an Eastern Conference fan, you're keeping an eye on that Phoenix-Hartford game. Hartford trying to jump into the playoff mix. Otherwise, it is Oakland and Sacramento. And Monterey Bay trying to get out of their season-long slump, playing host to Orange County at 10 p.m. What's going on around the USL? Dan Lucas updates you on that as we're scoreless here at halftime.
It is halftime in the USL Championship. We hope you're enjoying the match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at the headlines. It was an amazing accomplishment and USL history. Trevor Ammon's hat trick blew open Pittsburgh Riverhounds game against Louisville City. Ammon scored 3 goals in 3 minutes and 27 seconds, the fastest hat trick in league history. The Riverhounds collected a 3-1 victory on national TV. Construction is underway on Detroit City's new home. The groundbreaking for Alumni Phi Stadium took place last Wednesday with club partners, business leadership, as well as the mayor of Detroit on hand. The 15,000-seat stadium's planned opening is in 2028. The CONCACAF Under-20 Championship now underway in Mexico. 3 players from USL clubs are with the U.S. Under-20 team. Colton Swan of Charleston Battery and Brandon Days of Louisville City represent the championship. Braden Dunham represents Swarm FC of USL League Two. National Spotlight games in Championship and League One. Next Saturday, Tampa Bay hosting Louisville on ESPN2. August 5th, Richmond Kickers hosting the New York Cosmos on CBS SN. And then on the 8th, Monterey Bay hosts New Mexico United on CBS SN. This is the USL Halftime Update. Let's get you back out to your match.
Tell me, are you ready?
The big man gets his first with Colorado Springs.
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm. When it comes to accuracy, the News 5 weather team has it.
Hey, check this out.
He's out!
Now that's accuracy.
News 5 meteorologist Alan Rose. When you want the most reliable morning forecast, his accuracy makes all the difference.
Thrills and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure. At Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
When it comes to accuracy, the News 5 weather team has it.
Hey, watch this. Now that's accuracy.
News 5 meteorologist Alex O'Brien. When you want the most reliable forecasts, her accuracy makes all the difference.
The USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. 11-1, but if you're Colorado Springs, the one shot on target has to be a low light for your group right now.
It has to be, and it's that emphasis for Alan McCann, his coaching staff, this group, that do not rest on what you've accomplished thus far, because this game still sits at 0-0, and obviously Charleston Battery sits second in the East for a reason. They are a complete team. They have the depth, they have the decision-making, the execution. So you got to make sure that you're sharp and detailed.
Well, let's see what happens in half number 2. Colorado Springs for the season, 18 second half goals. They're the best in the league in the area. Meanwhile, for Charleston, they lead the league in goals scored. They've scored 8 in the final 10 minutes as they try to make this one on the road a little bit of a different plot here in half number 2. Good to have you with us this evening in the USL Championship alongside coaching veteran Eric Dobransky and our entire team. I'm Michael Watring with you here tonight. One-sided. You mentioned at halftime, what was it, 46% of the action in the final 15 minutes was in Charleston's defensive third. Now they need to change it, and this will help. Because he gets fouled, it's a free kick for Charleston in an attacking position. Jeremy Kelly and Nathan Messer will be over there. Combined 8 assists for the season. And what role can Alec Hughes play in the second half? 6'4", 24-year-old former first-round pick by LAFC. It's Kelly that spins it into the 18-yard box. Ikaza was the closest to it. And for the first time tonight, Charleston has a corner kick as it's sent away by Mitsisala.
And this is an area that the Charleston Battery can absolutely use to get themselves back in this match and get a footing, get some momentum.
Corner kick brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. McDivitt is in your corner. Nathan Messer lines it up. 4 years at William & Mary, 1 final year at Providence before turning pro. Circles this ball in. Smith heads it into the air, and Shuttler snatches with 2 men right in front of him, including one of his teammates. Perez touched him last. Indeed it did. Casiedu does well and gets a high five from Ben Pierman.
And no changes for either side. So for Ben Pierman and his group, they feel like there is another level to that performance from the first half. I mentioned it in terms of just being steady defensively and then making sure that you leave yourself available to go forward and you can find some of those outlet passes, have the structure and the proximity that Colorado Springs were presenting to you to play off of each other.
Appanonu has to send that ball all the way to the sideline. Martinez is able to dance around a man and hold on to that ball. Now gives it away. Hanya picks it up. Martinez looked like he was going to be able to quietly walk out of the area. Instead, Hanya lines it up. His cross takes a ricochet. Williams settles. Another ball in between 2 options. Lacroix sends it around, and it does go out. Turns out there was a substitution at halftime. Brought to you by All Copy, office technology partner to the Switchbacks. Miguel Berry replaces Alec Hughes. Berry, 28 years of age. Bounced around a little bit. In the USL Championship, Orange County was one of his 2 stops along with San Diego, some time in the MLS as well. So let's see if he has an influence in half 2. Here he is, 6'3", Barcelona native. Barry holds on to it, slides through the middle, and hits it off the first man. Charleston once again playing without their leading goal scorer, Colton Swan, 7 goals for the year. He is with the United States' U20 team in Puebla City, Mexico for the CONCACAF U20 Championships. He starts the night on the bench tonight, but there is a USL Championship man in the starting 11. That's Lou City's Brandon Days against Haiti. The U.S. trying to qualify for the U20 World Cup next year. One of the things that you can qualify for out of this tournament is the Olympics. The U.S., of course, being the host nation, already has that bid, but looking to win it. They've won 3 championships of the 9 since 2009. Mexico have won 4. The U.S. has been in the final 4 straight years. Select is proud to be the official matchball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Kind of has a feel a little bit of a playoff game, a knockout stage game with 2 teams that score at high rates that have almost been not necessarily willing to send extra bodies into the attack here tonight. Charleston in particular playing on the road. They've been much more conservative than they typically are.
I agree 100% because you're always going to lean towards the home team being the aggressor, being the team that plays on the front foot. So naturally you expect to see that. But to the point you were just making, it does feel like 2 teams that they want to push enough to generate an opportunity to go to attack, but they also don't want to open themselves up too much and give something up in transition. And then now you're the team battling to get back in, because this is a game where the first goal is going to be quite a factor in how the rest of it's played out, because it forces you to kind of open up, maybe play uncharacteristically going forward, and that's going to be where you want to stick to your principles. So the longer this stays at 0-0, you might see some of the bravery going forward and some of the chances kind of take that uptick.
Well, Ben Pierman spoke about his team on the road. He said it's nowhere near good enough. They've been shut out far too many times on the road. That's 5 times they've been shut out in 8 road games. Martinez tucks it across, late arriving run. Kisiedu bobbles. Tejada does enough to frustrate Kisiedu. Blackstock pressures Maples. He works away from the pack and does not keep it in. But finishing up on that, Ben Pierman thought they had that great game against Sporting Jacks where they scored 4. But they've been shut out too many times. They need to score a goal, because he said when they score goals, things change for this team. And it's been boom or bust on the road. 5 times they've been shut out. The other 3 times, they've scored at least twice.
They have the 5 losses on the season, and all of them being on the road, unbeaten at home. Mentioned that 1-1 draw last weekend against Sacramento Republic. So when we touch on the standings, and we spoke about it in the first half, was this is still so much of the second half of the season to be played, but with a team that's going to want to be at home.
Martinez getting pressured here by Foster, is still able to get it inside of the 18. Ball ricochets off of 2 men. Foster now sweeps it to the middle of the field. It's Super that intercepts. Blackstock thought about sending it first time, leaves it for Martinez, cycles in, Shuttler jumps out, grabs it.
And that's something that we didn't see since kind of some of the early interventions in the first half, was Sean Suber able to detach himself from that back line and be a playmaker, be a facilitator, sit in that pocket, connect side to side, get the outside backs involved.
Charleston has given up 15 goals in the second half this year. That's tied for the 5th most in the championship. The ingredients are there for Colorado Springs.
Well, recently on Wednesday for the Switchbacks, you make some changes in the second half, towards the tail end of that second half. Scored 2 goals in the 80th and the 90th. So you have that ability to bring on some substitutes that flip the match. Yosuke Hanya, who started tonight, came on, really changed the narrative of that match. Alan McCann spoke so highly of his defensive presence in that game.
Ball bounces down. Perez touches it around a defender, but can't quite get it right. Instead, it is Kelly the other way. He feeds it to the wrong man. Speedy Williams picks it up. Tejada accelerates. Now slows. Back for Williams. Perez. Picked up here. Tejada throttles on the hop. It's a juicy rebound. Perez takes a touch around. Perez pushes it into the nets. Zamudio spills the ball. Perez scores his 4th of the year. Switchbacks break through and lead 1-0.
And this sequence starts with Juan Tejada pulling the ball back, resetting possession, showing that patience and decision making, and then just uncorks one from distance. Goes through all the traffic, catches Zamudio, and then Perez just never stops moving his feet. Gets himself on that rebound and then collects himself, has the composure and the awareness to let his defender leave his feet and then tucks it away. What an opening goal for the Colorado Springs Switchbacks.
Switchbacks FC Gold presented by Gold Hill. Gold Hill, the best address. Well, Adrian Perez scores for the 3rd time this month. A player that Alan McCann has called a Rolls Royce. And 2 changes coming as well here for Colorado Springs. The last touch of the match for Perez is a goal. Jonas Fjellberg is the one that replaces him in the lineup. So just like that, Colorado Springs finally breaks through, finally gets its goal. That ball ends up going out of play. Charleston making a change as well. Malik Foster replaces Langston Blackstock. Foster coming in against his old team. Has scored in this fixture when he was with the Switchbacks. Substitutions brought to you by All Copy, official technology partner to the Switchbacks. Another player that Colorado Springs brought on was Brennan Creek, 25-year-old, 3rd season as a pro. We stop play here with a man down back behind the play, and that's Doug Martinez.
Charleston players having a discussion with the center official about that play that has seen Martinez hunched over and on the ground. See that coming together, and you see Martinez up, so looks like he'll be able to continue. And for Charleston Battery, so important for him and Nathan Messer's involvement in the final third.
Injury stoppage presented by Common Spirit Health. As we hit the 1 hour mark in this matchup, Adrian Perez's 56-minute goal. As the Switchbacks out in front, 1-0. Michael Watchering, Eric Dobransky in our group with you here with a half hour to go of a game that has seen the Switchbacks take 13 of the 15 shots here this evening. Will things change with these subs made by Ben Pierman? 19th second half goal of the year for the Switchbacks. The most in the championship for 2026. This is Ikaza. That's an excellent first touch. Tries to feed Barry. It's past him and to Shuttler. Soccer season in full swing. SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats.
We continue to talk about the attacking presence for both these teams, and what makes these teams so effective and so thorough in their approach is how quickly they're able to switch back to the other side of the ball. They're very expansive in the way that they think going forward.
Flag stays down here. This is Foster. Foster finds space, sends Kelly along. Looked like he was offside. The flag never came up though. Here's Messer. Up top it goes. Apononu. He surveys, sends Messer through once more. Messer dashes, bends. Chance to reset. Martinez. Subert right back. Martinez tucks it. Kisiedu up top. Foster lets it ride. Kelly crushes high. I didn't think it was all that close. Let's see it again. Yeah, it looks like he's way offside.
Yeah, I was expecting the play to come back, and sideline official never raising their flag, and play continues, and it did end up being a spell that does end with Jeremy Kelly putting it over the crossbar. But besides the conceding the goal, I thought the beginning of the second half has been better from Ben Pierman's group. They've been more progressive going forward, and the point I was making was both these teams are very expansive in the way they want to threaten you and go forward, but they also ask a lot of good questions defensively in terms of when they are on the ball. What if we get dispossessed? What shape are we in when we get dispossessed? Who has to apply first pressure, support, so they do not punish themselves additionally when they do concede possession. So very difficult to beat teams that don't beat themselves.
Charleston this year has gained 9 points from losing positions. The only team to gain more is on the other side of the field. Colorado Springs has gained 10. Not done yet here tonight. Martinez wins a corner. Ball looked like it clearly went out of play, and now, of course, the fans are going to have their say with that same official that missed the offside call. Of course, no VAR in the USL Championship. It's a McDivitt Law Firm corner kick. McDivitt is in your corner. Nathan Messer sets it up. Messer, slingshots, back post ball. That is Smith once more. He wins it cleanly, goes right into the hands, however, of the keeper.
And this is the Charleston Battery side that are elite in dead ball restarts, defensively set up, organized so well, and then offensively, the way that they can bump runners and generate space.
What did Alan McCann tell us earlier this week? He said, when you have a goalkeeper, there might be times where you dominate a game, and there's one moment when you really haven't had anything to do all night long. Shuttler calmly collects that last ball. Charleston makes a change here. Kirill Pakamov replaces Douglas Martinez here in the 65th minute. Substitutions brought to you by All Copy, office technology partner to the Switchbacks. Messer. This is by far the longest spell of play Charleston has had the ball in the attacking half. Pakamov's first touch. Kisiedu drifts. Loses his defender. Messer circles. Fires it across past Ikaza. And a foul is whistled.
You can see Ikaza having that conversation, but these are the conversations they want to be having, and far from what they were having in the first half. They're finding themselves deeper into the Colorado Springs Switchbacks defensive end. Now you have to find the payoff.
That is a sloppy mistake there from Colorado Springs off of a restart. These two teams thrive at the end of games. I mentioned earlier, Charleston has scored 8 times by a substitute this year. Impact off of the bench, but this is Ikaza. Kisiedu. It's Barry, one of the subs so far this evening, cannot quite control. And now the game shifts. Charleston take their turn with possession. Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle. Looking for Barry. Instead, Foster has to send it down, and he goes right to the ball. Foster gets an angle. Foster tucks it right to the spot. Williams, all he can do is look around and send it to the seats.
And the right play, because he had a teammate right in front of him. Just be secure with it, as now we see Colin Shuttler down, but that's what Malik Foster can bring to this game, the ability to recognize what space is there to get to the byline, turn the corner. And these are the questions that are now going to fall into the lap of Charleston Batteries. How do they get themselves to the wide areas in rapid rate, in possession? They're having some space out there. You have Malik Foster. You see, turn the corner, you get the runs in the box, but you need the layers, you need the opportunities to play that ball across to a teammate. That's where now the Switchbacks are going to absorb. They're going to retreat into their 18-yard box, immediately defend this 1-goal advantage.
Well, Alan McCann has banged his head on the table time and time again. This is a Switchbacks group that has only 2 clean sheets this season. One came Wednesday night, so they had 1 for the majority of the year. Sporting Jacks is still without 1 for the season. They still trail 1-0 against El Paso. And McCann said that throughout the season, it's been some self-inflicted wounds. He said they have started to get that right. Credit to some of their opponents, but needs to find a way to start getting more clean sheets at this point in the year. And tonight is the ultimate test against the top goal-scoring team in the league. Colin Shuttler getting his final pieces here. Injury stoppage presented by Common Spirit Health. Let's see what Miguel Berry thinks. These stats heavily slanted towards the switchbacks. Charleston finally starting to get a stranglehold of this game as they start to hold possession after the 56-minute goal from Adrian Perez.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, the switchback's ability to minimize opponents in and around their box, and the threat of shots on target, and where you're going to see Alan McCann and his group want to see an increase in efficiency is the shots on target. You have 13 shots, but how many are you being wasteful with?
Apononu puts the ball back in play with his long throw. Messer's waiting for the second ball. Apononu decides to hit it in. Lacroix mishits. Berry gets in front to hold on to the ball. Back out, Pakamov. Messer in his dangerous location. Pakamov can't quite get it in there. Kisiedu with a strong touch. 20 minutes to go. Switchbacks lead 1-0. They've won 2 of the first 4 meetings. Cross in. Ikaza. Kisiedu. Messer. Now Pakamov. Elects to funnel wide. Messer gets an angle. Now winds one up across the field. Finally into the box once more, and that is Ikaza hitting it wide left. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app.
And Michael, this late in the game is truly when you start to see some of those analytics, those themes, those trends, the data sets that so many of these coaches and organizations look at throughout the season kind of play themselves out. Obviously, you see them from the start of matches, but you hear so many coaches talk about suffering and suffering together, but you're also going to do that with numbers that back it. What spaces are you okay with giving your opponent? What opportunities are you okay with conceding to them? The areas of delivery, the numbers in the box. Where do you want the numbers in the box? So there's so many different pieces and analytics that go into when you're getting numbers behind the ball and you're going to defend for a certain allotted time when you've seen so much possession. What looks are you okay facing, and how do you want to minimize anything going forward, as this is a good outlet?
Ball comes in. Smith heads it away. Tejada picks it up. Thought about letting it fly. Lacroix. Tejada. Pakamov greets him. Quick turn. Hanya fires one away off the backside of a defender. Rolls out. Corner kick coming up here. Corner kick brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
It did look like Juan Tejada had struggled right after that play.
Both teams are making changes now. Saddam Mezaraka replaces Yosuke Hanya for Colorado Springs. On the other side, Charleston has Wilmer Cabrera coming in to replace Kisiedu. Substitutions brought to you by All Copy, office technology partner to the Switchbacks.
Guerrero, one of those players for the Charleston Battery that is absolutely packing offensive punch.
Creek crosses. It bounces down. Barry picks it up. Can Charleston take advantage of this? You can see 3 defenders back with the 2 players for Charleston forward. Kelly lifts it down the sideline. Good pace here from Foster. Has an option inside of the box. Crosses. Cabrera was the target. Maples gets there first. It goes out. Corner kick coming up for Charleston off of the counter.
And this is just tremendous from the Charleston Battery because they recognize the outlet they can go forward, met by an elite ball into space, because when you have a team defending off of a corner, you have all sorts of positioning and matchup issues.
Pikes Peak State College corner kick. Find your future at Pikes Peak State. This time it'll be Jeremy Kelly to take this corner kick. Kelly connects, near post ball. It bounces down. It finds the foot of a man. Suber punches at it and floats to the sky. Shuttler snatches.
And I would say that this is more challenging for Colin Shuttler than one of the previous attacking corners that Charleston Battery had, just because of the traffic that was in front of him. So difficult to not only pick up the ball, but also pick up the bodies that are in front of you and the possible deflections that can come from that.
Charleston leading the league in goals, shots on target. But through 75 minutes, they have 5 shots, 2 on target. And here's a breakaway chance. Perhaps it's 2-on-1. Fjellberg wants it. Too late on the delivery. Messer controls and just clears.
That is fantastic defending from Charleston Battery. You're on a 2-on-1. Take away the angle, make sure that you only give the width. And you know what option they were looking for, Fjellberg.
Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle. Oh, can something change for Charleston in the final quarter hour of this game? As it stands right now, they're 8 points behind Tampa Bay on the Eastern Conference table, and trying to keep up with the Rowdies that have been rolling through the 2026 year. Foster is offside, so they're going to bring this ball back for him.
And from the Charleston Battery point of view, I mean, you still have plenty of time. This is only a 1-goal game. You've collected some set pieces, some dead ball restarts that you've been terrific at all season. So you just need one moment. You're not looking for overall volume. You're just looking for quality. I think a lot's changed since Miguel Berry has come on, but he still has not found his footing and his involvement facing goal, as we do see a yellow.
Isaiah Foster gets the yellow card issued to the Switchbacks defender. Caution sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Ikaza cushions it down. Barry angles it wide. Here goes Foster. Keeps it in play. Can Barry win the race? Barry gets over there. Heads it for Cabrera. Cabrera takes on a defender. Rolls it over. Foster chases. It's out of his reach. That was a great counter-attacking chance.
And just overall good work rate from everyone involved. Foster getting on this ball, keeping it in. Then Miguel Berry, clever header that helps this along to Wilmer Cabrera, but that just provides enough time for the Switchbacks to get numbers back behind. Cabrera has to settle for that ball that rollovers the end line.
What Charleston was lacking for a good hour of this game, they're starting to find, and it's been some of these substitutes that have provided it.
And it's those quick transitions, and We saw it early in the first half with that chance from Jeremy Kelly, kind of that early warning shot that kind of woke up the Switchbacks defensively, and you saw a lot of minimal involvement going forward from the Battery. So now transitionally in counterattacks, got to be sharp if you want to close this game out.
Lacroix hunts it down, can't keep it in play though. Zamudio puts it back in play, Ikaza. And now Pakimov, plenty of time left for Charleston. They've scored 8 times in the final 10 minutes of matches this year, including twice in stoppage time. Will we see a fun finish tonight? Colorado Springs 1, Charleston 0. Adrian Perez's goal in the 56th minute is the difference on a night where the Switchbacks have a +9 differential in shots. Michael Watring, Eric Dobransky, and our team with you here at Winder Field. Great to have you with us tonight. The 2 best goal scoring teams in the league this year, but Charleston has done the majority of their damage this year at home. Only 9 of their 31 goals have come on the road. Overall, they have a -7 goal differential away from Patriots points. Messer crosses, it floats up top, it's Ikaza, it's Cabrera, Cabrera crushes and scores! The 9th goal by a substitute this season pulls the Battery level in the final 10 minutes.
And this ultimately comes down to recognition, but the quick trigger and the playmaking starts with Nathan Messer. That entry ball, you're putting it into a tight area, but you know that Jeremy Kelly can be tidy in that touch. And then Wilmer Cabrera, there's just no question that he knew exactly where he was and what he wanted to do as soon as that ball hit his foot. Quick trigger, quick release.
For Cabrera, it's his 3rd of the season. The last one came at nearly an identical spot in the match. June 13th in a 5-1 win against FC Tulsa. He scored in the 80th minute. Tonight, it is the 81st minute to tie the score to goal apiece. Two changes for Colorado Springs. More on that in a moment. Here's Bennett. He's been so quiet in the second half. It rolls out. Corner kick quickly on those changes. Matt Mahoney, Steven Echeverria in, Isaiah Foster and Juan Tejada off. And a corner kick here brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Now you get Sam Williams over this delivery. Can you flip the switch and recover quickly after conceding that goal?
Williams lines it up. He wallops the ball in. Zamudio, clean catch.
And those are sometimes the defensive elements that present themselves when you're trying to see out a 1-goal advantage. You tend to find yourself retreating deeper and deeper into your 18-yard box to only try to concede some of these opportunities from outside the box and those 18 to 20-yard takes. Charleston Battery kept asking questions, getting closer to that end line. Nathan Messer finally got some heavy involvement in that final third.
Well, if you're Charleston, how do you prevent going back into that defensive shell that they were in much of the night and continue this pressure that has made the Switchbacks uncomfortable?
Yeah, I think you continue to stay aggressive with that first ball that has provided you so much positivity. Is when you've been back in possession, you've been aggressive with where you've wanted to go and how you wanted to get there, and now you get the long throw from Apanonu.
He tosses it in over everybody, glances over Pakimov. Good ball. It's Cabrera finding empty space. Pakimov back on it. Has options inside of the box. Flares it in. Ikaza gets the first head on it. It goes out towards midfield. And that is a foul. And let's see which pocket this one goes to. It's a professional foul from Pakamov. It's a yellow card. Clear tug of the jersey, and he'll accept that yellow.
Yeah, now the onus goes onto the Switchbacks. How do you regain composure, momentum after conceding the equalizer? As you see, pull down from behind, and the yellow card rightfully earned. You know how important those transition moments are right now, this late in the game.
Cautions are sponsored by Diversis Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Mahoney sends it back for Shuttler. And the tale of the 2026 Switchbacks continues, the elusive clean sheets. They had one on Wednesday night. They won the game in the final 10 minutes in a 2-0 victory against Miami, but still sitting on just 2 clean sheets for the year. Bennett, he was so influential in the first half. Hasn't done much in the second half. Thielberg floats it across. Appanonu was going to get ahead on it. Fortunately for Charleston, he doesn't.
And for the Switchbacks, how do you kind of regain some of the traction that you had going forward? You had a lot of flexibility, unpredictability. The movement was elusive. Positional play was really good, but again, credit. This is what you get when you have 2 ambitious teams and 2 extremely well-coached, extremely talented teams. You're going to get matchups where you feel like the first 45 minutes were completely dominated and owned by one side, and then spells here in the second half. But each of them are asking massive questions, and you have to feel like both these teams are going to go after another goal because they want all 3 points.
Let's just go back to that first half. The stats were 11 shots to 1 for Colorado Springs, but only 1 of those shots were on target. And now here we stand in the 87th minute. Although the shot differential is 14-6 for Colorado Springs, each team has 3 shots on target.
And that's what I was going to, you mentioned the storyline and kind of some of the trends for the Switchbacks with the clean sheets. The shots and the shots on target, that's probably a number that they're going to continue to look at, where they can upgrade. And
it is Christmas in July here at Winder Field, and there are some parents out there that like to keep a gift in the closet until the very end of the night. And maybe there's one here for Colorado Springs. Corner kick brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like.
And I just can't imagine that Matt Mahoney and Talon Maples aren't key targets and key fixtures on this delivery.
Williams swings it across over everybody's head. It finally bounces down. Maples was the target. Unfortunately for Colorado Springs, he was 25 yards away from the goal. And now Sam Williams has to do the long journey from one side to the other to take this throw. Little secret source there on the sideline to provide some info. Williams tosses it in. Ikaza heads it away. Williams launches this ball in. There's bodies falling all over the place, bouncing around, and ultimately it rolls out. You can stay tuned after the match if you want to watch a little more footy. Auckland versus Tottenham Hotspur in a club friendly. the Golazo Network.
Get that post-World Cup football frenzy.
Bonnie's going everywhere now here at the end, and that ball's missed. Foster accelerates into the attack. He's got choices in the box. Cuts it back. It bounces in. Barry has it bounce off of his body. Shuttler alertly grabs it. I mentioned earlier, it felt like a playoff match for how conservative teams were being. Now it's starting to feel like one with the intensity ramping up in the final 10 seconds plus stoppage time. Mezaraka darts around. He demolishes a ball, and it hits Ikaza in the head to bring us to stoppage time, brought to you by the TikTok Shop. 5 more minutes to go.
And you just hope Emilio Ikaza's okay, because as soon as this ball was struck, he went down, takes this directly off the side of his head here. Somebody that's been so instrumental in how this, not only this match has played out, but the impact he's had on the season, continues to be the player they lean on for penalty kicks. Obviously, Corey Bennett being that player for the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Emilio Ikaza just continues to step up and deliver in those big moments.
Well, Emilio Ikaza might be the least talked about valuable player in the USL Championship. Had a couple goals during the 2023 playoff run for the Battery, in which they reached the final against Phoenix Rising. They would fall in PKs after a 1-1 full-time finish, 3-2. At the time, he had only scored twice in his prior 28 leading up to that, and he's already got 5 goals this season. Had only scored 8 goals in his first 3 professional years before landing in Charleston. And now in his late 20s, the former South Florida Bull has showcased his value night in and night out for a Battery team that doesn't necessarily have the depth of as many of the other teams, particularly Colorado Springs, who doesn't have a lot of players that play a ton of minutes. Ikaza, 1,400 minutes for the year. And to finish up on that point, Colorado Springs has 3 players that have played at least 1,000 minutes this year. 9 different Battery players have played at least 1,000. So depth much more readily available for Alan McCann than it is Ben Pierman. We've gone nearly halfway through stoppage time. You wonder how much more time will be added on at the end and if we'll get a winner in this one. This is Foster. Kelly, who had the assist on the goal. The equalizer from Cabrera, who chases that ball and cannot get there in time. Watching it roll out.
We've mentioned the clean sheets for the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, only 3 for the Charleston Battery as well. So 2 teams that have conceded goals, maybe not in total volume, but at a consistent rate. And you see it throughout the league, and this game would be one of those examples. Is it is a 2-goal league. You get a 1-0 advantage and you want to keep your foot on the gas and make sure you're pressing for the second, but also making sure that you're balanced in both boxes when you're doing so.
Well, a night where it looked like Colorado Springs was going to coast after the goal from Adrian Perez in the 56th minute. At the time, there were only 2 shot attempts from Charleston. Now, they're sitting on 6, so it's not like they have a higher volume, but they have controlled the possession. Switchbacks look to win it here at the end. 95th minute now. Cross loops in, back post ball, Fjellberg! Jonas Fjellberg gets the winner in the 95th minute for the Switchbacks. 2-1 Colorado Springs.
There is just so much quality in this play and in the end result. The delivery, but also the roles and responsibilities of the players in and around the 6-yard box. Their commitment to their runs and what those runs entail. And it opens up that far post for Fjellberg, who absolutely buries it.
It is the 4th stoppage time goal of the season for the Switchbacks. Goals brought to you by Gold Hill. Gold Hill, the best address. But it's the 3rd latest they've scored in the 96th and the 100th minutes this year. And tonight's from Fjellberg likely wins it. He switches field for Mesoraca now. That's the 6th goal scored by Colorado Springs substitute this season. It's Echeverria that set him up with a great ball across. The 2 substitutes this evening providing a moment to remember here in Colorado Springs.
Oh, when we talked about just the overall matchup, when you looked at the trajectory of these 2 teams and what this matchup could entail, and then you looked at the quality and the talent within the roster, and then the 2 coaches themselves, we knew we were in for something special, and we've seen the ebbs and flows of what this match has presented.
Well, we mentioned the trends earlier. This a little bit of the trend that Alan McCann has liked about the makeup of his group over the last month or so. They have played within themselves. They have played at a high level consistently over that time. Yellow card to Malik Foster. Caution sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. And then for Charleston, this run, frustration continues from Indy to the Prinks USL Cup to Sacramento last week, now to tonight. It was definitely not the best performance you'll see from Charleston all season long, but it's certainly one where at the end, you feel like you have a chance to at least steal a point on a night where it's maybe been your average game, but you give up one at the very end.
Well, those are the marks of a good team. When you can go on the road, not be at your best, not put in the best performance that you feel like you could have, but you still get a result. But here at the end, I mean, the Switchbacks have made the play right now that stands the difference.
And the head scratching will continue for Charleston. This will be their 6th loss in 9 road games. They'll sit on 7 points on the road for the year. The goal and the injury in stoppage time allow this time to continue to wind. Fans waiting for the center official to blow his whistle. There might be one more chance for the Battery. It's got to be a perfect buildup, and it doesn't happen right there. Mahoney swings it forward. Pakamov for Zamudio. Will there be another entry into the attacking third? High arcing ball. There's nobody over there in a white kit. And there's the full-time whistle. Colorado Springs wins the match in the 95th minute. A 1-1 game into stoppage time. Jonas Fjellberg gets the header And the Switchbacks win a third consecutive at home, 2-1 tonight.
What a terrific matchup between these two sides. Asked each other different questions at different moments, challenged each other in different areas, and that was going to be something that we looked forward throughout the 90 minutes. And then it was the depth that was presented from both teams. Wilmer Cabrera get the equalizer for the Charleston Battery. Jonas Fjellberg comes on, gets the late game winner. What a match.
Let's take a look at our critical moment of the match presented by Common Spirit Health, and it's Steven Echeverria's ball across, and Jonas Fjellberg finds the smallest of spaces.
And one substitute to another, and that's the impact that both these teams present. What a delivery and what a run far post. But again, the runs centrally that occupy the defenders, but Fjellberg tucking that away. The finest of margins.
The votes are in. The Groom Transportation man of the match is Jonas Fjellberg. Groom Airport Shuttle providing stress-free transportation between Colorado Springs to DIA. Fjellberg's third goal of the season, first since a goal against FC Tulsa on June 20th. What a night it was. It was scoreless at halftime, and the second half lives up to the billing. Colorado Springs 2, Charleston 1. We'll wrap it up when we come back.
Tell me, are you ready?
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm.
At KOAA News 5, the stories of our neighbors create connections, and those connections build our community. Around here, imaginations soar. Moments are captured. Strangers connect. Problems are solved. Lives are changed. Your voice is heard. Because together, we tell the story of us.
This summer, it's time for thrills and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure. At Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
Tonight's final score is brought to you by Blue Federal Credit Union, and it was 1-1 until the 95th minute. Jonas Fjellberg wins it. Michael Wattring, Eric Dobransky, and our team with you here, recapping an exciting match here in Colorado Springs. And we look back at this matchup, full-time highlights presented by McDivitt Law Firm. And this was the moment that started off. Zamudio with the spillage, Perez with the poise.
And this take from Juan Tejada was coming off the heels of a first half that you felt that the Switchbacks settled for some shots from distance, some opportunities. But this is where Perez, his experience and his opportunistic nature, his feet never stop moving. He goes to chase this ball down. Zamudio spills it. And then he still has the class and composure to tuck that one away. And then second half, you saw the Charleston Battery grow into it. They started to find their footing. They started to find some opportunities. Miguel Berry came on at the break. So those changes started to pay some dividends and have influence. Colin Shuttler had to come up big on a couple set pieces, on defensive set pieces for Colorado Springs Switchbacks. And then Wilmer Cabrera came on. And then you know when you come on as an attacking player that your singular role is to go score a goal. So Wilmer Cabrera comes on, knows exactly how that prep touch wants to lead him into the finish. Jeremy Kelly obviously does a terrific job operating in a tight pocket of space, and then Wilmer Cabrera tucks it away to equalize. And in the 81st minute, for both teams, they've already kind of exchanged different ideas and different challenges. The Switchbacks just were unrelenting in the numbers that they flooded into the 18-yard box. This ball from Echeverria, the awareness, the patience, and then the late arriving run of Fjellberg. There is not much space there between the goalkeeper, Zamudio, and that post. He tucks it away, what proves to be the game winner.
The road woes continue for Charleston as we take a look at the match stats brought to you by Blue Federal Credit Union. And Charleston came in. They were number 1 in the league in shots on target, but it's a 9th consecutive game for the Switchbacks, allowing 3 or less.
Yeah, you're going to feel with 6 shots and 3 on target that obviously the one goal, you had more there to generate in the final third for the Charleston Battery. Obviously navigated a difficult 45-minute stretch to begin the match, but did a good job of growing in the second half, generating some opportunities. But the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, 16 shots, 4 on target. They're going to want to see some more efficiency in that department, but still the 2 goals and then the possession. Thought they did a good job of working side to side and asking some difficult and challenging questions of the Charleston Battery defensively.
3 straight home wins for the Switchbacks as they win for the 3rd time in 5 meetings against the Battery. There would be no Grinch tonight. Santa Claus wins the day as the Switchbacks win it 2-1 thanks to Jonas Fjellberg's 95th minute winner. For my partner tonight, Eric Dobransky, and the rest of our team here in Colorado Springs, I'm Michael Watring signing off. Thanks so much for watching the USL Championship on the Galazzo Network. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.